Episode 28, the podcast of Tibetan Kung Fu. This is the podcast dedicated to our Kung Fu family, for those folks who practice Kung Fu to be a better person first and a better martial artist second. I'm your host, Sifu T.W. Smith, and I really appreciate you joining me today. I believe I've got a good show lined up for us, and as a technological side note, I've took a step back. Those of you who know me probably find that I do better with pencil and paper than I do with my iPad. But I do like my iPad, but that pencil and paper sure does flow easy. While I am recording this, my finger is sitting here on a button like in the old days, so the mic is on. I don't know why this works better for me. It's old, but it does, so I'm going to stick with it a little bit longer. I was informed the other day that not everybody listens to the podcast, just like not everybody goes to Twitter or everybody goes to Facebook. So I need to do a better job in making sure that I walk through the information like a Facebook post or something like that for those of you who didn't see it. Bear with me. I am learning how to do this, and I will get it, or I will get better. That much I can promise. First, in acknowledgments. One of my favorite parts is acknowledging you, the students, practitioners, supporters, contributors, listeners. I was working out the other day on a multiple assailant strategies. And if you've never seen that, basically it's ugly. And it's not about the techniques there. It's about the strategy. Are you moving? Do you have your opponents moving in all three phases? Things like that. Well, while I was sucking wind and recovering, Lynn took the time to stop by, and she told me, in your last episode, that was episode 27, she says, your talk on Qi gave me a lot to think about. And I was very, very grateful to hear that, because that's what it was intended to do, to give you, just like it did for me, different ways of looking at the same tree. You can look at it from any side you want, and it looks different. But even if after you have looked at it from each side, what if you were looking at it from the top? What if you were looking at it from the bottom? It would still look different, but it's the same tree. We sometimes get locked in to the way we're looking at something is the only way that it exists. The reality of it is that's not true, and Qi can be looked at in many different ways. For those of you that missed it, that was the last episode, number 27. And Lynn, thank you very much if you're listening. I appreciate you taking the time to share that with me. Some of you saw the post where Jean had posted on the Facebook that she had attended our Harmonizing Sex Drive workshop, and it was the perfect reminder of taking care of yourself first, and the rest will follow. I'm very glad that that particular workshop went well, because that is something that I'm working on, and I'm going to probably, tweak it here and there and try to make it better. But the nice thing is that once I have a couple more little things done, the MP3 and the PDF will be at the White Bamboo store. I'll put the information up on the White Bamboo store, and you can go over there as often as you want and download the newest versions of the material. That's my way of trying to make sure that if you're committed to us, that I'm committed to you. Got a very nice email from Henry, and Henry was a Tai Chi teacher for some time. And he'd been working out, and we went through push hands. He had told me that he had learned more in 10 minutes doing push hands with me than he had in all the years combined in his previous training. And it extended into his understanding of how it's used as a martial application. I wanted to let you all know that I really do enjoy working with you all on all forms of the push hands and all forms of your Kung Fu or martial art of any type, because it's about you. It's not about the style. The more you understand and you can practice putting that understanding into action, the better you'll get, and it won't matter really what style you're practicing. Also, I posted up the other day that I'd gone over to the Garner Fire Department for a Christmas event. There's a link there on the web page that'll take you over to the website where they have a bunch of photos. But the thing that I wanted to point out is that irregardless if you're here in Raleigh or you're across the country, those men, both volunteered and paid, are working and being prepared so in case you need them. But what got my attention the other day is as hard as they do that work, putting their lives on the line to pull people from homes, fires, cars, accidents, they also took the time, and I mean a lot of time and a lot of effort, to go out and raise over $15,000 to help burn victims in the hospital. I was very, very impressed with these men, and I wanted to extend that feeling out to you all so that the next time you're out and you ride by a fire station, especially this time of year, remember, when you're at home at Thanksgiving and you're at home at Christmas, there's some men sitting over there waiting, just in case you need them. So thank you to a fireman, and if you're a fireman and you're listening, volunteer, part-time, half-time, quarter-time, doesn't matter to me. If you put your life on the line to pull someone out, I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I'm going to move program announcements to the end of the podcast. I may do that today or I may do it permanently, I don't know. But for today, I'm going to move all that stuff to the rear. I wanted to discuss for a moment that in the last issue or two, particularly in the last episode, I believe I had an edit problem when I sent it out. But I sent it out anyway. I wanted to mention why I did that. For me, the priority is always to be as consistent as possible, just like in my Kung Fu practice. Some days it goes great, some days it goes not as great. Some days there's only a couple of flaws, some days there's bucketfuls. But being consistent over the course of time will get you much further than trying to be intense and right every time. Some things are just meant to be better than others. It's part of art. So my priority was to get it out on time and have this podcast out on Wednesday morning. The effort is to provide the highest quality information first, to provide that with a good intent, to be as consistent as possible, and then next on the list is my performance. Trust me, I want my performance to be an A, but not over the priorities. And that's the reason there was a couple of edit issues in the last episode or two. Veterans Hospital update, Reeling Silk Tai Chi. Reed went over to see Bruce in Charlotte, and together they did the Reeling Silk Tai Chi with the veterans. Yesterday, during the free Monday meditation class at 11:30, we did a meditation on creating room for your thoughts. Reed told me that he feels like it would be a great fit for the veterans, so I'm going to record an intro bumper for it and edit it just for them. And Reed, Bruce, I'll be sending you a text. You can download that off of Dropbox when I have it done. Now let me set the stage for this next part. Cameron Conaway is a gentleman. I ran across one of his articles, and I read his article and I found it very intriguing. Then I read a little bit more and found it even more intriguing. Then I wrote him. We exchanged a couple of emails and he gave me permission to share this with you. And there'll be links to the original article on the website there. But Cameron Conaway is a former MMA fighter and an award-winning poet. His work has been featured on NPR, ESPN, The Guardian, and the Huffington Post. He teaches creative writing at Penn State Brandywine. The title of his essay, 5 Ways to Bring Mindfulness into Our Martial Arts Practice. One of my favorite quotes from the essay, the best martial artists are those who have mastered the art of bringing a blank notebook into places of their perceived knowing. Let's look at the 5 things that Cameron Conaway gives us to consider. It starts with the quote, awareness has no frontier, Bruce Lee. Then it goes on to say, the term martial artist contains within it seeds that make us human. We are a warring people and a peaceful people. We wield as often as we yield. We are of concrete and sky, of hard and soft. We embody all, the swirl of human complexity, the loose ends, and the constant forward push to cultivate our empty fields. regardless of your form, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Muay Thai and everything in between. And regardless of your place of practice, renowned dojo or dingy basement. To be a martial artist is in large part to engage in the practice of mindfulness. The best martial artists are those who have mastered the art of bringing a blank notebook into the places of their perceived knowing. Here are the 5 ways any martial artist can incorporate the lessons of mindfulness into their practice. Number 1, breathe. The greatest martial artists are renowned for their conditioning. But one overlooked variable that all great martial artists share is the ability to know precisely when to relax and when to contract, when to flow and when to go. Find those moments of space in your sparring or training, and even if for a brief moment, come back home to your breath. Number 2, interconnect. In most martial arts, there are traditions of paying respect to your master, to your opponent, and to your sparring partner. Whether this is a bow, an extended form, or a simple touch of the gloves, work to not let the ritual of it become mindless. With each bow or glove touch, for example, think to yourself, for our inner being. Number 3, and I like this one, recognize privilege. There is a scene in the movie Ip Man, a film named after the Wing Chun master who served as Bruce Lee's martial arts instructor and mentor, in which a character asks Ip if he's been training. As the question is asked, the Japanese invasion of 1937 is underway in Foshan, China. Families, including Ip's, are helpless as their villages are raided and pillaged. Those still alive hang on for dear life to a single grain of rice. Ip's answer? No. To train means energy expenditure, and therefore the need for additional food, he says. Here is a martial arts legend. A man whose love of training comes second only to the love for his family. Admitting that training is an act loaded with privilege, may we enter into our training with the awareness that it can only happen because a million other variables in life have come together in such a way to allow us to do so. Visualize. There is perhaps no more radical act in the 21st century than meditation. It's a courageous act to sit and do nothing without judgment and distraction, especially in a world of both. Carve out time in your martial arts practice to simply sit, eyes closed, visualize the drills or the move you hope to improve on. Science continues to prove the benefits of visualization on physical performance. Number 5, give. May we practice seeing our martial art not merely as a means by which we dish out or avoid punishment, but as a form of engaged empathy, giving our time to others, whether through teaching our strengths in the dojo or working to better the community outside of it, isn't merely a gift to others, it's also a gift to ourselves. Author Cameron Conaway. In summary, the 5 ways to bring mindfulness into your martial arts. Breathe, interconnect, recognize privilege, visualize, and give. Cameron has authored a couple other books, and I've put the links to his website even though he didn't ask me to, so that in case you wanted to explore some of his other works. I hope you take that and place it into your practice and use it wherever you can. On the website, you'll also find some links to some of the other articles we have regarding meditation and your practice. On to upcoming programs. The Kung Fu Boot Camp is going to be starting back Wednesday, January 7th at 7:30 for 8 weeks. It went great the first time, had a lot of good feedback on it. If you want more information and you want to join us, please do. TibetanKungFu.net Kung Fu Boot Camp. Take you right there to the sign-up sheet. Also, Kat's Beginner Yang Nine Tai Chi course is going to be starting Sunday, January the 4th at 10 a.m. That's Sunday, January 4th at 10 a.m. for 4 weeks. That program has been great. Kat is excellent at teaching things in a step-by-step format, and I've heard nothing but good things about that. So if you're interested in getting a refresher or restarting your Tai Chi or learning from scratch, that's a good one to go with. Due to some requests, we've now set up our Patreon account. And if you don't know, Patreon is a way that you can contribute to any form of art, whether it's a painter, musician, podcaster in this case. But it's a way that you can contribute. And what I've done on our site is put up some things that we're working toward. One is to just pay for the podcasting equipment in the podcasting room. Other is to pick up a Mok Jung for our Kung Fu training. Y'all probably know it better as a wooden dummy. The link is on the website. If you'd like to learn more about what we're doing and what we're trying to do, that's a good place to find it. I've made a lot of progress with the audio meditational books that I wanted to have ready for a gift with the content members. I recorded, I believe it's the last one, just a little while ago. I've got to edit, get it all put together in an audiobook format so that it will be available to you. I believe there was 8, maybe 9 meditations in there. Some range 5 minutes, some up to about 10. But I enjoyed each one of them. Remember, it helps us when you sign up over at iTunes. In fact, let me just let Kean say it.
This is Kean Smith. I very much appreciate you listening to our program. Please subscribe or leave a review.
Thank you, son. He's doing great, by the way. Okay, well, I believe that's it. We covered programming, announcements, acknowledgments, how to bring mindfulness into your martial arts. That's a good wrap-up for today. I appreciate you giving me that much time of your day. I look forward to seeing you, and whether I get to see you or not, I hope you go out to practice. Remember, you practice your Kung Fu to be a better person first and a better martial artist second. And every day you make a practice, you're taking a step in the right direction. This is Sifu T.W. Smith, and I look forward to talking with you again real soon.